Baltimore line on the left wing, shooting! Stick save Bannerman, the rebound in front, and Seguin wrapped up Miller. Controlled in front of the goal by Gagne. His pass deflected off the forechecking Miller right to the goaltender Bannerman, who reached up and grabbed it, but it's seized behind the goal by Richard. Centered it. Blocked in front by Albrecht, sweeping it to center. Where Colhane on the left side steers to the Baltimore line. Gagne controls. His cross-ice pass meant for May out of the left wing at center was broken up and sent into the Baltimore zone by Beaudoin. Fired back down ice by Albrecht. Controlled the Binghamton line by Druce. Now John Druce on left wing at center. Bumped from behind by Perkins. Controlled to the Jacks line by Gagne, sending it into Binghamton territory. Colhane on the left wing boards. His pass halted at center by DePalma, who curls back to his own line, feeding Seguin in the middle at center. Seguin hits the Binghamton line. Along the right wing boards for Perkins. The trailer squeezed by Colhane. Binghamton breaks out. 3-on-2. Berglund to center over the Baltimore line on the left wing for Gaume. Gaume pulls up along the boards, directs it in behind the goal for Yves Courteau. Courteau cracked by Hoover, dug out at the backboards by Berglund, muscled by Seguin. They jostle forward vigorously deep in the Skipjacks right corner. Finally corralled by Hoover, steering to the line. The point shot by Cronin skids harmlessly into the Baltimore left corner. Claude Julien is there to cover and backhand down ice. They'll nullify icing. Tony Kellen low in his right circle, up on right wing in his own line for Jim Thompson. Cross ice on left wing at center for Courteau, backhanding to the goaltender Bannerman, who just scaled it off the glass to center. Control by McLean, reaching the Baltimore line, thumped on the defense by Moreland. Control behind the goal by Kennedy, leading at his own line for Graham Bonner, the newcomer. Bonner on right wing at center, drove it in behind the Binghamton goal. Covered there by McLean, stolen by DePalma, right in front for Shed to the doorstep for Bonner, wrapped up by Cronin assertively. Dug out along the new Binghamton right wing boards by Greenlaw. His pass halted at the line by Bonner, and Graham Bonner inadvertently sailed it over the glass into the crowd. He was attempting to direct the puck in flight into the offensive left wing corner. Now DePalma and Thompson are at close quarters at the top of the offensive left circle, and the linesmen intervene. Larry DePalma, who has been a real spark plug since his arrival on the Skipjack scene, and Jim Thompson, who's been plagued with injuries all season long. He led the American League in penalty minutes last season with 350. He has been injury-plagued all season, and he's back tonight. Thompson's on right wing. DePalma's on left wing. We'll be watching those two tonight. From the face-off outside the Binghamton line, they'll control in the zone. At the top of the right circle, Beaudoin will start out. Beaudoin lugs at center circle, shoots. That one was wide. It caromed off the backboards all the way to the left wing side for Greenlaw. Greenlaw behind the goal for McQuarrie. Crunched by Moreland. Puck in front of the goal. Thompson assails DePalma from behind. And now he has to answer to Dave Moreland in front of the goal. And now those two are brawling right in front of the goal. And Moreland is landing. That's 3 straight rights by Moreland as he finally falls, and so does Thompson. And the two finally sprawl low in the Skipjacks right circle. It was DePalma and Thompson initially. And Thompson assailed DePalma from behind. He appeared to precipitate the entire incident. Now we have another incident isolated along the left wing boards in the Baltimore zone. And our vision is partially obscured. One of them, I believe, is the Jacks' Byron Lomo. No, it's DePalma, excuse me. It was DePalma and Jeff Greenlaw, the former Washington Capitals #1 pick. In the meantime, Moreland and Thompson have been escorted to the respective penalty boxes, and our first altercation of the night occurring early at 2:36 of the opening period. The game is scoreless. We had mentioned that DePalma and Thompson were locking horns earlier on a preceding face-off that was just outside the Binghamton line. And the two were jostling each other in a rather rambunctious manner in front of Bannerman, and then Dave Moreland charged in after Thompson had apparently bushwhacked DePalma from behind. Larry DePalma had covered up down on all fours with Thompson on top of him attempting to administer punishment, and Dave Moylan charged into the scene. De Palma is at the Skipjack bench. The penalties to the Skipjacks' Dave Moylan and to Binghamton's Jim Thompson. In the meantime, the Jacks captain Doug Shedden and Binghamton's Yves Vaudois are in a confab with the referee Paul Stewart across the way from us at the semicircle. We have 17:24 remaining in the opening period, and the game is scoreless, and it does appear that Binghamton will be in receipt of the additional minor penalty. The Whalers' penalty box door swings open, and apparently Coach Doug Jarvis must designate someone to serve Thompson's minor. Thompson, 2 minutes for instigating, and that's how we saw it as well. Thompson, 2 minutes for instigating, 5 minutes fighting. The Jacks' Dave Moylan, 5 minutes for fighting at 2:36. So the Skipjacks will be presented the game's first power play. Their power play was 2 for 4 here on Wednesday night. 2 for 2 in the second period. Both goals sniped by Doug Shedden when the Jacks embarked on the come-from-behind trail successfully, erasing a 5-2 deficit. The Jacks on the power play in their last 2 games, percolating at 3 for 7, or virtually 43%. Binghamton, while short-handed this season, surrendering on the power play 71 goals against in 380 opportunities for the opponents, and that's an efficiency of an excellent 83.4%. The face-off will occur outside the Skipjack blue line, below us and to our right, which is the Skipjack left wing. Mike Richard, who leads the league in short-handed goals with Adirondacks Dale Krentz, both with 6, will serve the Thompson minor. It'll be Bonner up front for the Jacks, teamed with Shedden and De Palma. Wayne Gagne on a 4-game scoring streak in which he's collected 2 goals and 6 points, along with Cliff Albrecht. Both of them had a goal and 2 assists here in Wednesday night's tie. They'll man the points. It'll be Bonner and Gaum on the faceoff. Won by Bonner for the Jacks as De Palma really jolted Vaudois at the Baltimore line. Control by Gagne on right wing. Now Wayne Gagne comes all the way across to the left side, backpedaling to his own left circle, chased in behind the goal by Tim Berglund. Gagne seeks refuge there and ill-organized. Shedden rounds the net and gives it back to Gagne. Angling it up on left wing at center for Bonner. Chased back into his own zone by Vaudois. All the way back into the Baltimore zone for Gagne. Boy, Whalers forechecking tenaciously short-handed. Now Gagne at center for Albrecht, sending to Palma, scampering after it deep in the Binghamton left corner in the circle for Shedden with a shot, scores! Doug Shedden, Jacks lead 1-0. Palma chased down Cliff Albrecht, directed pass into the offensive left wing corner, and De Palma just outdistanced the Whalers defense that was caught high, as we mentioned, forechecking tenaciously to force the issue. And De Palma centered one to the left circle, and Doug Shedden, the trailer, rattled it upstairs. His 30th, his 12th on the power play, and his 4th in a 3-game goal scoring streak. Albrecht and De Palma the assists at 3:13. Jacks are lifted into a 1-0 lead. Now from the faceoff, Jacques Mayotte on left wing at center, flutters one into the offensive left wing corner. Controlling the other wing of 2 goals, Jennings drove it to the line. The Julian point shot, deflected by Lomo, scores! Byron Lomo, 2-0 Jacks! Skipjacks, 2-goal thunderbolt in 27 seconds, and the Jacks soar meteorically into a sudden 2-0 lead. mark. Deflected home the Claude Julian point shot that originated from the right side. Lomo's 13th, his second in as many games since his return from the New York Rangers IHL affiliate in Colorado. Julian the single assist. We have another fight at center ice. Ian Armstrong for the Jacks and Jeff Greenlaw for the Whalers. Armstrong just turtles it in the semicircle between the two penalty box at center ice. Greenlaw discarded his stick and his gloves. Greenlaw is ushered into the penalty box. Ian Armstrong remains on the ice. This occurring at the 3:50 mark. Oh my. Jeff Greenlaw at center ice along the left wing boards, his left wing boards. The time 3:50 and Greenlaw is banished. And the Whalers seem to be losing their poise and their composure. And the Skipjacks playing with a lot more confidence with Mayotte and DePalma in the lineup, really asserting themselves. And they're doing so with great authority. They have already surged into a 2-0 lead. Greenlaw 2 minutes for roughing at 3:50. Face-off center zone. Jacks are now 4 for 8 on the power play in their last 3 games, including this one tonight. It was Shedden from Albrecht and DePalma at 3:13 on a power play, and then at 3:40, Lomo deflected home the Claude Julian point shot that emanated from the right side. Lomo was parked right in front of the right hash mark when he deflected it upstairs. Apparently someone has been cut. It's Greenlaw. Jeff Greenlaw has been cut, and blood is flowing rather profusely and has to be scraped up in front of the penalty box that he had entered. Greenlaw, the former Canadian Olympic standout in a #1 draft of the Washington Capitals in 1985, and he has retired to the Binghamton dressing room for medical attention. Jacks with power play time, they lead it 2-0. Kay Whitmore had only surrendered 1 goal in his first 2 starts against the Jacks this season. From the faceoff, puck skims all the way down ice into Baltimore territory. Albrecht behind the goal will drop it off for Gagne with Berglund in pursuit. Now Wayne Gagne to operate from behind the Skipjack goal, shadowed in front by Dallas Gaume. Now Gagne is underway in front of the goal on right wing. At center for the Skipjacks, Keith Miller. Rink wide on the left side for Perkins, directing it all the way back into his own zone. On it in the right corner, Gagne leaving it behind the goal for Albrecht. Whalers continue to forecheck tenaciously. They're dangerous shorthanded. They have a league-high 17 shorthanded goals. Now Albrecht in front of the goal, eases one up on left wing at center for Perkins, thumped by Beaudoin. Loose center circle, captured by Keith Miller, who hits the Binghamton line. Pulls up, trying to roll one in front of Beaudoin, was there to abort the mission and fire it down ice. Right to the goaltender, Bannerman, who drove it up on right wing at center for Keith Miller. He thunders in over the Binghamton line, leaves it on the right point for Gagne, the trailer. Gagne darts into the circle, trying to roll one in front, and Tony Kellen was there. And the second-year pro from the University of Minnesota sends it down ice. 43 seconds for the power play. Puck all the way back to the Binghamton line on the misplayed Jacks pass. Grant Jennings on the left defense sends it into the Skipjack zone. Now Doug Shedden leaves in the left circle for Albrecht, does a spinorama to avoid the check of Kortko. Across on the right side for Julian, in the middle at center for DePalma, caught in his skates and fired down ice by a pirouetting Roger Kortko. Controlled along the Skipjack right boards by Julian in front of the goal for Albrecht. Up the middle at center for Shedden. Doug Shedden hits the Binghamton line, pulls up left point, centered it. Blocked in front by Korto, sending Richard to center with a shot. And it was Bannerman squeezing the pants on that one. Control behind the goal by Julian, penalty over. Julian on left wing at center for Albrecht, reaching the Binghamton line with a shot right on. Whitmore the save, the rebound in the right corner, and Beaudoin fires it down ice. 14 minutes left, first period, 2-0 Jacks. Now Julian behind the goal, right up the middle at his own line for Graham Bonner. Bonner at center for Shedden, right through his legs of the Binghamton line. Poked to center by Richard, controlled by Shedden. On right wing for Julian, sending it into Binghamton territory. Beaudoin directs it right to the goaltender Whitmore, and Whitmore launches it over the glass into the crowd, and there will be, I believe, a face-off as the referee Paul Stewart has ruled that the pass deflected off the glass and landed in the crowd. And Whitmore, because of the top of the glass, is rescued from a penalty for delay of game. Whitmore was attempting to launch it off the glass along the left wing boards, aiming it for his blue line, but the puck seemed to skim off the top of the glass and sail into the crowd. 13:40 left, opening period, 2-0 Jacks on a 2-goal Geyser that gushed in 27 seconds. Shedden and Lomo were the sharpshooters. Face-off barely inside the rim of the circle, left of Whitmore, Binghamton goal. Sagan, Richard will be the principals. Won by Sagan, center point for Hoover. He lost control, but it's contained on the right point by Sagan into the circle, right in front for Perkins with a shot, and he fired it wide. He was right in at the doorstep. Puck to the Binghamton left boards, Courtco at center. Over the Baltimore line on right wing for Miller. Jabbed off his stick at the top of the circle by Hoover. Sent back in behind the goal from the right point by Kellen. Covering there is Julian directing traffic, dishing left corner boards for Hoover. Up the boards at his own line for Lomo. Lomo at center for Perkins, waltzed into the boards by Cronin, who rubbed him out, but the trailer Lomo from outside the Binghamton line drove it in behind the goal. Covering up for the Whalers. In front of the goal, Kellen, his pass was nearly stolen in front by Perkins. And finally, it's Courtco to fire to the Baltimore line from left wing. Controlled at the Jacks line by Sagan. Now Steve Sagan curls all the way back in front of his own goal. He's really hounded by Miller. Across on the left defense by Albrecht. Albrecht at center for Sagan. He couldn't control. Grant Jennings will fire it into the Baltimore zone. Vanderman sets it up for Julian, rounding the net on the left side. Now Claude Julian head up the middle at center for Terry Perkins, shooting, and that was wide. The rebound caroms off the backboards, covered by Whitmore for Jennings, who rounds the net on the left side. Jennings long lead, finds Yves Courteau in the middle at center, backhanding on goal. Bannerman short hops it, guides it right corner for Albrecht, up the boards for Ian Armstrong, banking it off the boards of the Binghamton line. Controlled by a retreating John McLean, stolen at the line though by No. He centered it, blocked in front by Berglund as Miller was waiting for it. Now Berglund at center over the Baltimore line at left wing for Gaum, right in front for Berglund. It jumped over his stick behind the goal where he's crunched by Gagne. Dug out though deep in the corner. Along the boards by Keith Miller on the left side. Miller at his own line, leading on right wing at center for JF No over the Binghamton line. He tried to muscle his way through the circle, thumped by Culhane. Controlled on the Binghamton left boards by Courteau. Yves Courteau across on right wing at center for Berglund. Beyond him the Baltimore line, gobbled up by Julian. Claude Julian on right wing at center, rockets it in behind the Binghamton goal. Baudouin rounds the net on the left side. Yves Baudouin at his own line, sheds the shed and check. Rolls it into Baltimore territory. Controlled on the left defense by Hoover. Hoover hoists it to the Binghamton line. A kangarooing puck stolen by Shedden from Culhane. Right circle for Bonner with a shot, and he ripped it over top of the net. Rebound to the left point for Hoover to hold it in. Across center point for Julian. Along the left wing boards for De Palma. Right in front for Shedden. Knocked away by McCory. Contained center point by Julian, who fell. Stolen by Courtco. Courtco at center at the Baltimore line on right wing for Druce with a shot. Muffled by Hoover. That stung. Dug out along the boards though. On the right side by Baudouin, forcing the issue deep in the corner. Behind the goal for McCory. Pulled down by Hoover, but he centered it right in front. And Courteau's shot was blocked brilliantly by Julian before it reached the doorstep. But there will be a Baltimore penalty to Tim Hoover at 9:23 as the Thompson and Moreland major penalties expire. And with 10:37 remaining in the period, Binghamton will be presented its first power play of the night. A break in the action. Jacks 2, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Skipjacks penalty number 4, Tim Hoover. 2 minutes for a holding. Time to penalty 9:23. Skipjacks penalty number 4, Tim Hoover. 2 minutes for a holding. Time to penalty 9:23.
Now from the face-off, it was the Jacks' Tim Hoover, 2 minutes holding, and the time of the penalty was 9:23. Now from behind the goal, John McLean, the rookie from Boston College, leads on left wing at his own line for Mike Richard. Now Richard from center, winds it around the Baltimore backboards. Bannerman steps out to barricade, leaving for Albrecht, firing it around the boards. Contained right point by Kellen. Along the boards for Mike Miller, who holds. Now Miller pivots along the boards. Still has it working on Sagan. Down low side of the goal for Richard. Trying to return it in front for Miller, breaking for the net, and eludes him. All the way back to center. Corto to cover on left wing. Now Yves Corto hits the Baltimore line. Wheels across to the right point, leaving it there for Kellen. At the right boards for Miller. Now Mike Miller from the top of the circle fakes the shot, center point for Kellen with a shot kicked out by Bannerman. He directs it to the right boards where Byron Lomo sends it down ice. Under a minute for the power play, 9:33 for the period, 2-0 Jacks. Now the Kellen pass off Gom skate at the Binghamton line on right wing all the way into the Skipjack zone, and Bob Kennedy awaits it on the right side and returns it behind the Binghamton goal. Control by McLean. Up on right wing in his own line for Dallas Gom, who jitterbugs in over the Baltimore line, working on Kennedy. Left circle for Kortko, who tried to burst right in on goal, and it was swept away by Bannerman. Contained on the left point, though, by McLean. Side of the goal right in front for Berglund to the doorstep for Kortko, and he fired it wide as he was drummed to the ice by Kennedy. Back from the Jacks, Perkins at center. Over the Binghamton line for Gagne. He tried to dance through the defense of Bourgeois, really toppled him. Dug out though right boards by Perkins. Right point for Kennedy with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound left point for Moylan with a shot. Kicked out by Whitmore. 5 seconds for the power play. Binghamton breaks out. Kortko on left wing at center over the Baltimore line. Leaves it left circle for Gone right in front for Kortko. Poked off his stick by Bannerman at the edge of the crease. Dug out left corner though by Gone. Penalty over. Back behind the goal for Kortko. Chased into the corner by Kennedy. Kortko left point for Gone with a shot. Blocked in front by Hoover. Rolls him behind the goal. Bannerman stepped out. Drove it around the left wing boards himself to the Binghamton line. 8-12 for the period, 2-0 Jacks. At center, Cronin steams in over the Baltimore line through the left circle. Right in front for Thompson with a shot. Kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound behind the goal for Albrecht. Rocketing it around the left wing boards all the way down ice to alleviate pressure. Charging after it, Shedden behind the defense in the right corner. Now Shedden jammed by Cronin. Secured by McCory, who poked it up on left wing at center for John Drews. Now Drews charging in over the Baltimore line. Thumped in the circle by Julian. Dug out right corner by Albrecht, whipping it off the boards all the way to the goaltender Whitmore. But action is halted. I believe the right goalpost behind Bannerman has been lifted from its moorings. A break of the action, 7:42 left, first period. Jacks 2, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. No, it's fine. No problem. We can go right after Lachey's interview. It's no problem. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. 7:42 left, first period, and the Jacks on the strength of 2 goals in 27 seconds before the 4-minute mark. Shedden and Lomo, the goal getters, on top 2-0. And Murray Bannerman has really been shining in the Baltimore goal in recent action. Now from the faceoff, behind the goal for Mike Richard. Up on right wing in his own line for Kellen. At center for Mike Miller. He fires on goal. Bannerman the safe. Rebound left circle. Corto shot deflected behind the goal by the sprawling check of Julian. Now Claude Julian scraped it off the backboards. Leading at center for Larry De Palma. He wraps it over the Binghamton line, and offside on right wing was Graham Bonner. Much to the alarm of Skipjacks captain Doug Shedden, who just keeps looking around as if his head is on a tripod. He would just kept looking, old Shedsy just kept looking around. He just couldn't figure out who was offside. He skates over to the one of the linesmen, has a few choice parting remarks before he heads for the bench. 7:12 left, first period. It's Jacks 2, Binghamton nothing. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Now from the faceoff, Whalers at their own line control. Scott McQuarrie in the middle at center, overpowered from behind by the intimidating presence of Jacques Mayotte. Controlled back at the Jacks line by Moreland on the left defense, sending it into Binghamton territory. Jennings right in front of Lomo, control to the left boards for Greenlaw, sending it to center, where Bob Kennedy on right wing wrapped it right back in behind the Binghamton goal. Grant Jennings rounds the net on the right side. His lead pass halted at the line by Seguin, but it comes back to Drews. John Drews to center. Over the Baltimore line, right circle, shooting, stick save Bannerman. Rebound to the Baltimore left boards. Control by Seguin, turned it over in the circle to McQuarrie. McQuarrie had it stripped off his stick by a recovering Seguin. Seguin right wing at center for Lomo. Byron Lomo crossing the Binghamton line, pulls up, shoots, oh, and he fired it just wide. The rebound skids to the blue line. Owen Kennedy couldn't hold it in. A breakaway for McLean at center. Over the Baltimore line of Moylan, and Kennedy raced back and rode him off. Back come the Jacks, Lomo to center. Over the Binghamton line on right wing for Mayotte. He tried to center one in front for Kennedy. It skids in behind the goal. Covering up is Gaume. Now Dallas Gaume for Binghamton leads the three-man rush right up the middle to center zone with the shot. Knocked down by Kennedy. Captured at the Baltimore line by Albrecht. Now Cliff Albrecht at center, at the Binghamton line for No. Right in front for Miller, checked by Kortko, skids in behind the goal. Covering up is Kellen, spinning off the check of the forechecking Keith Miller. Tony Kellen at his own line. In the middle at center for Berglund. Berglund at the Baltimore line, lost control to Perkins at center. Wrapping over the Binghamton line, Perkins left circle, fired, and he fired it wide. Rebound in behind the goal. Digging it out for Binghamton. Berglund nearly stripped to the puck in front by Perkins, but on the scene to cover up immediately was Kellen. And Tony Kellen sailed it into the Baltimore zone. Controlled in front of the goal by Gagne. On right wing at center for Perkins, off his stick, but Gagne trails. Poked off his stick by Richard, but Gagne recovers that back at the Baltimore line. Does a spinorama on the right defense and fires into Binghamton territory. Controlled in the Whaler left circle by Culhane. A long lead on left wing at center for Richard. Beyond him down ice on the touch beyond the Jacks goal is Julian. And Binghamton is charged for icing a break of the action. 4:54 left first period. Jacks 2, Binghamton nothing. On the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Off right of Whitmore, Binghamton goal. Steve Seguin for the Jacks. Mike Richard, the former Skipjack, who earlier this season set an all-time AHL record for the longest point-scoring streak ever, 31 straight games. He has been banished, though. Courteau and Seguin. One by Courteau at center, 2-on-1 behind Julian over the Baltimore line, left circle. Courteau shoots, picked out by Bannerman. Rebound right boards for Lomo. At center for Seguin, steaming in over the Binghamton line, and Jacques Mayotte is offside on the left wing. Much to the consternation of the Skipjack fans, adorned with that free Skipjack haberdashery that paid to call the lines tonight. 4:38 left first period. Binghamton has actually outshot the Jacks 9-6. Bannerman's been razor sharp. The Jacks power play capitalizing once to spark their two-goal spree in 27 seconds. And the Jacks are on top handsomely, 2-0. Stay tuned. We'll have our Skipjack fan of the game coming up at our first intermission tonight. From the face-off at the center zone area. Controlled by McQuarrie over the Baltimore line on right wing. Centered it right in front for Thompson. It dribbled off his stick behind the goal. McQuarrie is there waiting for it. McQuarrie steps in front from the left circle and fired it wide. Rebound right side of the goal. The centering pass by McLean and the shot by McQuarrie. Bannerman the save. The rebound right in front. Greenlaw fired. Oh, what a save by Bannerman. Rebound behind the goal. They jam forth there in a lusty spirit. Kennedy and Moreland are both there to secure the puck. And the Binghamton player, Jeff Greenlaw, at the backboards. And Murray Bannerman has been superlative in the opening period for the Jacks. 4:03 remaining in the stanza. And the Jacks would like to escape. They're looking for the escape hatch to enjoy a two-goal bulge at the first intermission. Face-off Once play resumes, it'll be circle left of Bannerman. Whalers have outshot the Jacks 10-6. This is game 7 of a 10-game homestand for the Jacks. They'll be right back at home here tomorrow night at 8, and it's 2 for 1 night when the Jacks tackle Hershey. Buy 1 ticket and get the second one free tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 8 here at the Baltimore Arena. The Jacks and the Hershey Bears, the Southern Division and League leading Bears, making their 7th and final appearance here for this season. All ready to go, crucial face-off. Control right point by Kellen. The screen shot is wide. Rebound up the Baltimore right boards for Armstrong, clearing the center zone. Kellen just left it there as he was backpedaling. It sees center circle by Keith Miller. He snapped it right to the side of the goal. Whitmore steps out, drove it away for the onrushing Ian Armstrong, but in the left circle, no, had an open net, and he drove it right through the open side of the crease. Back comes Binhampton. No at center, Gaume over the Baltimore line. He was really jolted on the defense by Gagne, dug out deep in the Jacks left corner by Miller. He floats it to center, where Tony Kellen's pass is halted by Miller, who steals. Miller around Kellen at center over the Binhampton line, and he was overpowered from behind by Cronin, who dumped him. Cronin sent it to center. Knocked back to the Binghamton zone, though, by Armstrong. Controlled at the Binghamton line by Courtco. Back in front of the goal, leaving for Cronin. Back for Courtco on left wing at center. Roger Courtco reaches the Baltimore line. Slammed down along the boards by Armstrong robustly. Controlled by the Jacks, JF No. No on right wing at center, whipped it in behind the Binghamton goal. Covering Culhane. He aims one up on left wing at his own line for Richard. Leaving it on the line for Baudouin. Baudouin on right wing at center for Courtco. He just drove it into the Baltimore right corner. Covering up is Seguin. Seguin tries to power it up the right board, seized though by Richard right in front for Courtco, and he fanned on the shot as he was cracked down by Hoover. Then back come the Jacks. Perkins chases it down on right wing at center. Over the Binghamton line. Overpowered in the circle by Miller, but trailing Seguin. Seguin centered to the crease. Perkins shot. Great save, Whitmore. Rebound to the left point for Hoover. He fired it high and wide. Rebound Carrington to the Binghamton left corner. Culhane is there ahead of Seguin. Jim Culhane for the Whalers. At center for Yves Courteau, around Julian over the Baltimore line in the circle right in front for Miller with a shot. A sprawling block by Lomo. Puck loose to the Baltimore left boards. Lomo claims it. Byron Lomo at center. Skidded off by Miller with under 2 minutes left. Miller from center shoots right on. Bannerman brought it down high. Drove it up on right wing at his own line for Perkins, off his stick to center. Corralled there by Druce. Now John Druce wrapped it in behind the Baltimore goal. Covering the Karam in the right circle is Julian. Now Claude Julian's pass deflects right to Bannerman, and he clears the zone. McLean will cover. Now McLean at the Baltimore line on the left wing for Druce. Along the boards, working on Julian, draped over his back. Druce centered one. Halted in front by Doug Shedden, who sails it down ice from right wing. Racing to retrieve behind the Binghamton goal is John McLean, and the Jacks are charged for icing. A break of the action, 1:22 left first period. Jacks 2, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Behind section 223 on the outside, and behind section 108 on the inside. You must have a number registered to place a bid on the auction items this evening. Thank you.
Terry Ficarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. 1:22 left first period, 2-0 Jacks. Face-off circle right of Bannerman. Jacks goal. Stay tuned. We'll guest with the Skipjack fan of the game coming up at our first intermission tonight. Lomo and McQuarrie, the latter was the OHL Junior A scoring champion last season with Oshawa. 150 points. Won by Lomo. Corralled deep in the Baltimore left corner by De Palma. Nearly clotheslined by McQuarrie, but covering up behind the goal, Moylan. Now Moylan, really badgered by McQuarrie, rolls it along the right wing boards to center. Controlled there by Druce. He winds it up, reaches the Baltimore line on right wing, shooting. Bannerman gloved it. Directs it across to the right boards for Shedden, who's cracked down lustily by Jennings, pinching it from the point. Contained there by McQuarrie. He tried to center one in front, and it was cut off by Moylan, who cleared to the line, halted there. Thompson fired, and Moylan deflects that one over the glass into the crowd. No further play. 45 seconds remaining in the opening period, 2-0 Jacks. And the face-off will have its occurrence, rim of the circle left of Bannerman. in the Jacks goal. Jacks have been outshot 11-7, but they triggered a pair of goals in 27 seconds before this game was 4 minutes old. Doug Shedden's 30th on his 12th power play goal of the season and his third in that department in the last 2 outings. And Byron Lomo's 13th, his second in as many outings since his return from the New York Rangers IHL affiliate, the Colorado Rangers. All ready to go. It'll be Lomo and Gaum on the faceoff. Dallas Gaum, the second-year standout from Denver University, among the top scoring elite in the circuit. 18 goals, 45 assists for Gaum, 63 points. All ready to go, waiting for the linesman. Now we're waiting for Gaum to align. They're really digging in. Gaum won it. Right point, Kellen shoots right on. Bannerman the save. Rebound low right circle for Gagne. Scampering to center. Throw it in on goal, and Whitmore, with an extended stick, just directs it over the glass into the crowd in the Binghamton right corner with Roger Kortko and Ian Armstrong jostling one another and needling each other. That was at the top of the offensive right circle. But Armstrong retreated, and I don't think Kortko wanted any more to do with the whole affair either. Ian Armstrong, the chairman of the board since he's been installed on right wing midway through the season by GM coach Gino Briacco, and he's made a remarkable transformation. From the faceoff, no and Gaum on the faceoff, 34 seconds for the opening period. Won by Gaum, collected behind the goal by Cronin, in pursuit, no. Now Cronin's pass, stolen in front by No. No was tripped by the recovering Sean Cronin just as he was squeezing the trigger, and there will be a Binghamton penalty to Sean Cronin for tripping at 19:35. The Jacks are presented their third power play of the period. They're 1 for 2, and they are 4 for 9 in their last 3 games, 44.4%. with 25 seconds remaining in the period. Sean Cronin, the second-year pro from the University of Illinois, Chicago. He was an All-American there and signed as a free agent by the parent club Hartford Whalers. He spent most of last season, after beginning last campaign with Binghamton, he spent most of it with IHL Turner Cup champion Salt Lake. He was a member of that Turner Cup championship team. From the faceoff, Bonner won it. Left point, Albrecht shoots right on. Whitmore the save as De Palma was wrapped up in front by Beaudoin. Controlled all the way back at center zone by Kortko, stripped to the puck by Shedden at the Binghamton line on right wing for De Palma. And his centering pass meant for Shedden was interrupted by Beaudoin, who drove it to center with 4 seconds left in the period. Albrecht on left wing at center, drove it into Binghamton territory as the horn sounds, signifying the conclusion of the first period here at the Baltimore Arena, and certainly the crowd warms to the occasion. '13th from Claude Julien at 3:40, a 2-goal thunderbolt in 27 seconds before the 4-minute mark, staking the Jacks to their current 2-0 lead. All ready to go. Graham Bonner in his Baltimore debut tonight, opposing Dallas Gaum. The Whalers always dangerous short-handed with a league-high 17 short-handed goals. 3 of those produced against the Jacks this season, 2 in 1 game. Now Yves Beaudoin, his own line. On the right defense, curls back to the circle. The cross on the left side for Jim Culhane. Culhane drove it to the Baltimore line where his former Western Michigan teammate Wayne Gagne controls for the Jacks. Across on the left side for De Palma. Checked by Gaum. From the right side, Berglund, the trailer, fired it wide. It caromed off the backboards all the way back into Binghamton territory. Backpedaling for it there on the left side is Culhane. He drove it to his former teammate Gagne again at center zone. Gagne, though, turned it over to Gaum. Now Dallas Gaum on left wing. Backhands behind the Skipjack goal. Bannerman sets it up for Julien, circling the net on the left side. Now Claude Julien at his own line on right wing at center for Shedden, hitting the Binghamton line, shooting, blocked in front by Jennings, and it skipped right over the stick of Gagne, the trailer at center point, and it skids back into the Baltimore zone. 39 seconds for the power play. Julien behind the goal in the right circle, leading for Gagne at center for Bonner off his stick, but Gagne trails. Gagne at center, bowled over by Korto, charges in over the Baltimore line, centered it, blocked in front by the sprawl of Julien, who sends Bonner on his way on right wing at center. Bonner at the Binghamton line for De Palma, snapped the shot, and that was just wide. The rebound right in front, Bonner shoots and scores! Graham Bonner, 3-0 Jacks! the goal, but the rebound caromed off the backboards right in front, where Graham Bonner had penetrated behind the Whaler defense, which has had the tendency of playing very high to force the issue while short-handed, and Bonner just powered it right through a startled Kay Whitmore, who seemed to have that post guarded on the short side. Bonner's third of the season, his first of the skipjack from De Palma and Gagne. 2 assists for Larry De Palma. That is a power play goal at 1:17, and the Jacks are 2 for 3 on their awakened power play tonight. From the face-off, Moreland at his home on the left defense sends it down ice, and Beaudoin to reach it behind the Binghamton goal, and the Jacks are charged for icing. Bonner's third, he had 2 with Sherbrooke. De Palma and Gagne the assist. That's the Jacks' 70th power play goal of the season. That's 2 shy of equaling last season's output of 72. And the Jacks now on the power play are 5 for 10 in their last 3 games. Their power play had been dormant over the span of approximately 22 games. De Palma's assisted on both power play goals, and Wayne Gagne's scoring streak reaches 5 games. From the faceoff, Beaudoin at the right point, fired, stick save Bannerman. Rebound to the left boards for Miller. At center for No, who explodes in over the Binghamton line, right in front for Armstrong, and he rifled it wide. Rebound left point for Moreland, behind the goal for No, rolling it right in front for Armstrong. Knocked away by Druce. Fired down ice from the Binghamton line by McQuarrie. Bannerman charges in the left circle. Flung it past Jim Thompson, who had barged in behind the Baltimore defense in puck pursuit, and the puck deflects into the penalty box. The Whalers' penalty box, no further play. 17:55 left, second period. 3-0 Jacks as J.F. No and Ian Armstrong nearly collaborated. Meanwhile, Grant Jennings is departing the Binghamton scene, and he appears to be favoring one of his legs as he departs with the Whalers' assistant trainer to the Binghamton dressing room. It was Bonner's third from De Palma and Gagne on a power play at 1:17. 3-0 Jacks. They had scored only 10 goals in 5 winless efforts previously this season against Binghamton, and only 1 in the last 2 starts against the Whalers. From the faceoff, the puck is airborne, landing in front of the goal where Perkins really bowled over Corto. It squirms right in front, and Cole Miller shoots and scores. Mike Miller, the puck took a strange hop right in front of the goal, and Miller fired it home, and the Jacks lead is cut to 3-1. Boy, that Mike Miller is an opportunist extraordinaire. That's his 31st goal in 30 games this season. He had been on recall for the rest of that season, this season with Hartford. That puck took a strange squirm off the backboards right back in front after Perkins had dropped Corto in his tracks at the doorstep, and Mike Miller was there, and he just raked a rooftop rocket underneath the crossbar at 2:20. So the 2 teams trade goals at 1:03. That's an important goal for the Whalers. Let's see if they will capitalize on any momentum here. Well, they credited in a single assist to Richard. I think Corto should have one too. Here's Richard through the defense. He's rated on goal, and he backhanded it through the open side of the crease as the Jacks defense separated in front of the goal. And then Hoover yanked down Richard in front, and Mike Richard may have glamorized that one. And Tim Hoover will be chased for hooking at 2:41. Boy, that Skipjacks defense parted like the Red Sea as Corto, Richard, and Miller just charged in over the Baltimore line for the ensuing face-off. Tim Hoover, 2 minutes for hooking at 2:41. And the Whalers may be gaining some very strong momentum here. It was Miller from Richard. They credited the goal to Corto, but we're sure it'll be changed. Should be Miller from probably Corto and Richard. Time of the goal, 2:20. Face-off circle right of Bannerman. Whalers' second power play of the night. Both on Tim Hoover penalties. All ready to go. Perkins and Gaum on the face-off. Binghamton on the power play this season, 76 for 315, 24%. Won by Perkins, top of the right circle. Gagne is there to collect it, and he whips it down ice. He's up front with Perkins. Now controlled in the Binghamton right circle by Culhane, angling one across on left wing at center for Dallas Gaum. He darts it over the Baltimore line. Left circle for Cortco, shooting pad save Bannerman. Rebound in the Baltimore right circle, and Terry Perkins is there to rifle it down ice. Now Jim Culhane will slip in behind his own goal. He leads on left wing at his own line for Dallas. Gaume in full flight at center, crossing the Baltimore line. Gaume directs it around the backboards into the right wing corner for Courtco. Courtco to the right point for Beaudoin. Throw it into the right corner again, this time for Gaume. Gaume to the right point for Beaudoin with a shot kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound in front, control by Perkins, springing to center with Gagne. Terry Perkins crossing the Binghamton line on right wing. Directs it back to his own line on the left defense for Cliff Albrecht. Albrecht at center at the Binghamton line for Gagne. Stripped to the puck by Culhane on the defense. Controlled at the Whaler line by Courtco. Roger Courtco on right wing at center. Steps into the Baltimore line. Along the board. Squeezed by Albrecht. Albrecht nudged it off the boards to Seguin. He clears to the line. It was weak. Blocked by Beaudoin. Left point for McLean with a shot. Right on. Bannerman the save, and he pounces on top of that one. No further play. 15:58 left, second period, and 39 seconds remaining in the Jacks penalty to Tim Hoover. They're on top 3-1. The two teams traded goals, 1:03 apart. Bonner from De Palma and Gagne at 1:17 on a skipjack power play, and then they've credited the goal to Courtco from Miller and Richard at 2:20. Then Tim Hoover was banished for hooking for the Jacks at 2:41. Face-off circle right of Bannerman, Jacks goal. Lomo will dig in against Mike Richard. Won by Richard, left point for McLean. Along the boards for Courtco. Courtco down low, side of the goal for Richard. It deflected off Kennedy into the Baltimore right corner. And Byron Lomo is on the scene to fire it down ice. Now John McLean cavorts behind the goal to cradle it. He'll engineer the power play rush. Up on right wing in his own line for Mike Miller. Miller at center, wrapped it off the boards into the Baltimore zone. Courtco is behind the defense, swooping in behind the goal. Now Courtco wheels to the left wing boards, working on Lomo. Left at left point for McLean. Along the boards for Richard in the circle for Courtco. Right in front for Miller to the doorstep for Kelvin with a shot, and he rang it off the post. Puck behind the goal for Richard. Hoover's back on. Now Mike Richard still in behind the goal. Slips it right corner for Courtco. Action halted. I think we have a penalty coming up. The right goal post is lifted from its moorings, and I think one of the skipjacks committed the misdeed. And Bob Kennedy will be changed at 4:50. And Binghamton will be presented its second consecutive power play. And it's third of the night. Kennedy for the Jacks at 4:50, and all this does is sustain the Binghamton momentum that they generated on the goal from Courtco, although it appeared to be Mike Miller, and then a power play to follow immediately after that when Tim Hoover was chased for hooking. Kennedy receives a 2-minute minor for delay of game for lifting the right goal post from its moorings behind Murray Bannerman at 4:50. Faceoff will be circled up to Bannerman and the Jacks goal. It'll be Lomo and Richard. And the Jacks attempting to preserve this 2-goal lead. Won by Richard to the right point for Beaudoin. Left point for Culhane. He tried to drive one in front, meeting it for Richard. Cut off by Julian, who fires it down ice. Now Culhane behind the goal. Pulls up sharply to evade the check of Perkins. Leading on right wing in his own line for Beaudoin. Beaudoin center, drove it around the Baltimore backboards. Bannerman steps out, blockading for Julian. He fires it to the blue line. Contained right point by Beaudoin. Along the boards for Miller. Now Mike Miller, watched by Lomo all the way to the corner. Back to the right point for Beaudoin. Stolen by Perkins. Perkins at center was wrapped up by Beaudoin. Controlled at center by Courtco. He wheels in over the Baltimore line around Albrecht, swerving through the right circle, right in front for Miller with a shot! A spellbinding, sprawling save by Bannerman, who reached back and grabbed that puck that was crawling ever so dangerously toward the goal line. Now Perkins at the crease hammers the Binghamton player with 2 right fists. It's Mike Miller. The linesman attempting to separate the 2 desperados. They force Bannerman to vacate the crease. He's all the way across in the skipjack left corner. Miller and Perkins that time, neither one of them dropped their sticks nor their gloves, but Perkins landed 2 sound right hands upon the forehead of Miller. 1:11 remaining in the Kennedy delay of game penalty. 14:21 for the second period. It's been a lively affair tonight at the Baltimore Arena. A break in the action. It's the Jacks 3, Binghamton 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Here are the penalties. Perkins for the Jacks, Mike Miller for Binghamton, each 2 minutes for roughing at 5:39. And the faceoff will be outside the Skipjack blue line below us on their right wing. Now from the faceoff at center zone on right wing. Tony Kellen drove it around the Baltimore backboards, all the way to the offensive left wing boards for Gaum. Now Dallas Gaum holds. Whalers still have the power play. Sending it in behind the goal for Kortko. Kortko slipped one in front, and Seguin was there. Now Steve Seguin romping to center. Seguin over the Binghamton line, working on McLean, who forced him wide into the corner boards and wrapped him up with great authority. It's pried loose there by Gaum. Dallas Gaum will lead a four-man rush at his own line. Motoring to center at the Baltimore line on right wing for Bergman, who slams on the brakes. Directs it in behind the goal for Gaum. Interrupted by Moylan. Now Moylan surrounded by Kortko and Gaum. Evades the check of Kortko. And Dave Moylan beautifully for the left wing circle. Lashes it down ice. Now McLean deep in the Binghamton right corner will start out. 15 seconds for the power play. At center, McLean over the Baltimore line, working on Moylan, who falls, but Moylan poked it away. Contained left circle by Bergman with a spin-around shot, and that was wide. Rebound to the right point for Kellen. Kellen all the way into the corner, leaves it there for Gaum. Penalty over. Gaum center point for McLean, left circle for Bergman with a shot. Knocked down by Gagne, who's pulled down by Bergman. And there will be a Binghamton penalty to Tim Bergman for hooking at 6:58. And it's the Jacks' turn for a power play. And theirs has been lethal tonight, going 2 for 3. A break of the action. It's Jacks 3 and Binghamton 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Binghamton penalty number 16, Tim Bergman. 2 minutes for hooking. Final penalty 6:58. Binghamton penalty number 16, Tim Bergman. 2 minutes for hooking. Final penalty 6:58.
Doesn't make you look bad. The official scorer is the one that makes the call. So don't worry about yourself. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live for the Baltimore Arena. 13:02 remaining for second period action. Tim Bergman 2 minutes for hooking at 6:58. From the faceoff, it wiggles right in the direction of the goaltender Bannerman, but there to cover is Albrecht. Jacks have the power play. They're 2 for 3 tonight. Albrecht leaves for Shedden, rounding that on the right side up the boards at his old line for JF. No, scampering to center. No over the Binghamton line, try to center one in front for Shedden, too far. And Yves Beaudoin was there, and he launches one into the Baltimore bench at center ice. No further play. Scott Gordon reaches down by the bench and retrieves it, and I think he will hold on to it. The face-off will be barely to the right of the top of the slot in Binghamton territory. No Miller, Shedden up front, Julian and Albrecht on the points for the Jacks. All ready to go, waiting for the line spin. It's McQuarrie and No, 1:42 for the power play, 12:44 for the period. One by No, left point for Albrecht, sending it in behind the goal for No. JF No, right corner for Keith Miller. Side of the goal for No, trying to center one in front for Shedden, didn't make it through. Blocked by Beaudoin, controlled by Corto. Yves Corto on right wing at center, drifts one in on goal. Secured by Bannerman behind the goal for Julian, 121 for the power play. Julian leaves for Shedden, rounding the left side. A sleek spinorama to evade the check of McQuarrie. Shedden across on right wing at center for Albrecht, over the Binghamton line, right circle for Miller. Miller pulls up, toppled by Culhane, but dug out right corner boards by JF No. Now No slips in behind the goal, pulls up, still has it to the right boards for Shedden. Side of the goal for No. No was really stapled to the boards by Bourgeois, rubbed him out. And the goaltender Whitmore himself sails it down ice. 49 seconds for the power play. Now Claude Julien from behind his own goal to operate. Now waits for Shedden to come back. He'll take the pass and give it back to Julien in front. Now Julien at center for Bonner. His cross ice pass for Miller. That was interrupted by Drews, who rolls it into the Baltimore zone. Controlled by the Jacks, Julien. On left wing at center for Shedden, leaving it for DePalma at the Binghamton line, leaving it in turn left point for Julien with a shot, and he rang it off the post on the short side. Whitmore never saw it. The puck comes back to center zone, collected by Roger Kortko for the Whalers, and he fires it down ice. 12 seconds for the power play. Albrecht behind the goal, perhaps time for one more organized rush. Cliff Albrecht wheels at his own line to center. Over the Binghamton line on right wing for DePalma. Leaves it right point for Albrecht. Shooting! Oh, Bonner in front, deflected it just wide. Puck to the side of the goal. Bonner trying to power it in on the short side. Whitmore the save, and Armstrong is brandishing sticks with the Binghamton player Tony Kellen. Grant Jennings is there as well as he pairs off with Bonner. I believe we'll have twin minors. Ian Armstrong for the Jacks. Tony Kellen for Binghamton, and they were brandishing sticks rather viciously in front of Whitmore, as Graham Bonner has been rather deceptive tonight. He's a very deceptive offensive player. That time, almost effortlessly, he powered that puck home on the short side, surprising Whitmore. He did startle Whitmore earlier in this period on a power play goal at 1:17 early in this stanza. Went on the carom off the backboards with a very deft touch. He was able to sneak one past Whitmore on the short side. Armstrong and Kellen, 2 minutes apiece for a high sticking at 9:01. Jacks have only 11 shots on goal to Binghamton's 20, but they lead 3-1. Now from the faceoff, Yves Bourgeois at his own line. Accelerates to center, over the Baltimore line. He pulls up on the left point, delivers one in behind the goal for Richard. Richard right in front for Miller, and he drove it right through the crease past the sprawling Bannerman. Controlled on the Jacks right boards by Perkins at center for Sagan behind Culhane over the Binghamton line. Left circle for Mayotte, right in front for Perkins. And he was checked by Corto. Contained though, right point by Gagne. Right in front for Mayotte. Got scores! Jack Mayotte, 4-1 Jack. Suddenly materialized. He came out of nowhere as the trailer at the right point after Perkins was checked right in front of the goal by Yves Corto when it appeared that Perkins was set to pull the trigger from point-blank range. And Gagne found Mayotte as he threaded a needle with the pass through a chorus line of legs to the doorstep, and Jacques Mayotte just rammed it home. His first as a Jack, his third of the season from Gagne and Sagan, 9:36. Wayne Gagne has assisted on both of the Jacks' goals in this second period. He now has 8 points in a 5-game streak, 2 goals, 6 assists. Now from the faceoff, behind the Binghamton goal, corralled on the defense by John McLean, the rookie from Boston College. Now McLean is away at his own line. At center, his pass halted at the Baltimore line by Moylan. He returns it to center zone, where Jim Thompson sends it in behind the Jacks' goal. Bannerman stepped out, drove it away from the onrushing John Drews, but McQuarrie controls left wing boards right in front for Drews. He fell, and as he was falling, he tried to fire one, and Moylan blocked it going down on both knees. The puck skims in behind the Jacks goal. Kennedy into the right corner for Moylan, stroking it up the boards for Lomo. Jammed by Jennings, pinching in from the point. Controlled on the left wing boards by Drews. Stripped to the puck by No, who rolled it outside the line to center. Controlled at center zone by Jennings. Drove it in behind the goal. Charging in after, but Bannerman stepped out. Around the left wing boards, Bannerman for No at his own line. And J.F. No sends it into Binghamton territory. Controlled at the Whaler line on the left side by Jennings. His pass seized at center by No, exploding into the Binghamton line. The drop pass for Miller. He didn't expect it. Back comes Binghamton. Berglund to center. Storms in over the Baltimore line. Berglund pulls up on the right board, squeezed by Gagne, dug out by Shedden, jacks away. Shedden rushes to center. At the Binghamton line on left wing for De Palma is caromed off his skate. Back come the Whalers, gone to center. At the Baltimore line, left at right boards for Beaudoin. Squeezed by Albrecht, seized along the boards by Bonner. Stripped to the puck by Berglund with a shot. Pad save Bannerman. Rebound in front, slapped into the corner by Gagne for Bonner on the left side. And Graham Bonner rolls it gently down ice. Cullen to reach it behind the Binghamton goal. Jacks charge for icing. A break of the action. 8:28 left. Second period with the score, the Jacks 4, Binghamton 1. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live for the Baltimore Arena. The Jacks have duplicated their first period output in the second period, a pair in each period, and the Jacks have reclaimed their 3-goal grip at 4-1. Mayotte and Bonner here in the second period, Shedden and Lomo in the opening period, and the Jacks power play has been productive, 2 for 4. Boy, there was a point shot by Tony Kellen that was deflected way up into the second deck. Way up in the second deck, and a gentleman with a Nike sweatshirt caught that one, and he's from way up there in the North Country. Holy cow, that one really was a moonshot. Now from behind the goal, Dave Moylan will start out. Now Moylan at his own line, romping to center on left wing, lashing it into the offensive right wing corner, digging it after it is Perkins, skidded off by Courteau. Yves Courteau's clearing pass, holds the top of the left circle by Seguin with a shot, and that's kicked high over the glass into the crowd in rapier-like fashion by goaltender Kay Whitmore. No further play. That's the first point shot we've seen this season. In fact, the first shot we've seen all season deflected into the upper deck here at the Baltimore Arena, and they've opened the upper deck tonight because of this large crowd. And a gentleman in a Nike sweatshirt caught that one right on the rail, but he had to climb up about a half dozen rows to grab it. Faceoff will be circle right of Whitmore, Binghamton goal. Say, we wanted you to stay tuned in the second intermission. Washington Capitals head coach Brian Murray will be our special guest at our second intermission. All the Caps hierarchy here tonight, and they're flying. They've won 10 of 11 since the All-Star break. From the faceoff, the JF no point shot that originated from the top of the left circle through congestion was scooped up by Whitmore with an excellent save. No further play. And that'll produce an encore right of Whitmore. I want to remind you, when the Jacks oppose Hershey here tomorrow night at 8, it'll be 2 for 1 night. Buy one ticket, receive the second one free tomorrow night at 8. The Jacks and the Hershey Bears here at the Baltimore Arena. It'll be J.F. Dover, the Jacks, and Scott McQuarrie for Binghamton on the face-off. And again, we want to remind you that Caps coach Brian Murray will be our special guest live at our second intermission tonight. And those Caps are on a rampage right now. From the face-off, controlled the top of the circle by Miller, stripped to the puck by McLean, who's toppled by Miller as it comes to center zone. John Drews will play it. Now Drews for McQuarrie, over the Baltimore line, around Gagne, left circle. Gagne reached back and spilled it and got away with that one. Controlled at the Baltimore line by Armstrong on the right boards, and the chairman of those boards sends it down ice. Jennings rounds the net on the right side. Grant Jennings leaves it at the right boards for McLean, who curls back. Now McLean at his own line, lugging it to center, fluttering it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman traps it, leaves it for Gagne. Gagne from deep in the right corner. At his own line, headmans it crisply for No. JF no at center, drove it around the Binghamton backboards, deep in the left corner, digging it after it is Miller. Miller to the left point for Albrecht, the shot, that's high and wide. Rebound to the Binghamton left boards. Controlled by Drew, shouldered lustily by Noah as Drew sends it to center zone. Controlled there by Thompson. At the Baltimore line, top of the left circle, shoots. Knocked down by Julian. It comes back to Thompson in front, and he blazed it wide. Rebound left boards for Kortko. Behind the goal for Gaume. Right through him, but held in at the right point by Beaudoin. Beaudoin screen shot blocked by Julian in the congestion in front. And then Albrecht from the left side of the goal tried to sail one outside the zone, and it deflected off the stick of an unsuspecting Jim Thompson and disappears into the crowd about 5 rows up along the Skipjack left wing boards across the way from us. 6:40 left, second period. It's 4-1 Skipjacks. Doug Shedden with a power play goal, his 30th, Byron Lomo's 13th in the opening period. And then after Yves Corto scored at 2:20 on a goal that appeared to be registered by Mike Miller at 2:20, the Jacks regained the 3-goal grip on Jacques Mayott's goal from Gagne and Sagan, 9:36. Graham Bonner ignited the Jacks' second consecutive 2-goal period with their second power play goal tonight early in the period at 1:17. His third, his first as a Skipjack, celebrating his debut tonight in a Baltimore uniform. De Palma and Gagne assisting. Larry De Palma and Wayne Gagne each have assisted twice tonight for the Jacks. Faceoff will be outside the Baltimore blue line. From the faceoff, Beaudoin for Binghamton on right wing at center, drove it around the backboards, all the way to the left side for Culhane, pinching in from the point, into the corner for Gaume. Now Gaume slipped it in behind the goal. Julian waits for it there. Julian's pass along the boards for Bonner, leaving it in the corner for Claude Julien. Julien at center for De Palma. He couldn't outdistance Beaudoin for it. Controlled instead deep in the Binghamton left wing corner by Culhane. And Culhane from the circle will control, head manning it at his own line for Berglund. Snapping it crisply across on right wing at center for Gaume, who sends it behind the Jacks goal. Shedden is there. Doug Shedden around the boards on right wing at his own line for Bonner. His rink-wide pass on left wing meant for Larry De Palma was aborted by the extended stick of Beaudoin, who deflects it over the glass into the crowd. No further play. A break of the action. 5:59 left, second period. Jacks 4, Binghamton 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Now from the faceoff, Albrecht from behind the Jacks goal. A long lead off the left wing boards at center for Lomo, who was behind the defense, but the pass is beyond him. And tracked down behind the goal by Tony Kellen ahead of the on-rushing Lomo. And the Jacks are called on the offside. 5:38 remaining for second period action. And though the Jacks have been outshot 23-16 throughout, and 11-7 in this second period, they lead by a seemingly comfortable 3-goal cushion at 4-1. But keep in mind that this is the highest scoring machine in the league in the form of the Binghamton Whalers. They entered tonight's game having registered 304 goals. That's the most in the circuit. And they have really riddled the Jacks this season with 31 goals in 5 consecutive unbeaten efforts entering tonight's game, outscoring the Jacks 12-1 in the last 2 duels. Now Richard won the faceoff. He wheels in front and fired it wide. Rebound of the Baltimore left boards, and Lomo backhands it to the Binghamton line. Controlled by Richard. Now Mike Richard left it on the line for Tony Kellen, peeling back on the defense. Kellen up on left wing at center for Sean Cronin. Shouldered lustily along the boards by Gagne, forcing the issue high. Controlled by Richard on right wing. Mike Richard at center. He hoists it in behind the Baltimore goal. Albrecht behind the goal, leaves right corner for Perkins, slipping it back behind the goal for Gagne, entangled by Miller. The two topple. Miller, though, dug it out. Richard trying to step in front from the side of the goal from the Miller pass, and Bannerman was there, and he smothers that one with quicksilver agility, wrapping his body around the right goalpost. No further play. 5 minutes remaining in the second period. Gagne and Miller collided and toppled behind the goal, but while Miller was falling, he was able to hook the puck with the blade of his stick to the side of the goal where Richard was left unattended. And Mike Richard uncovered, tried to step in front, but Bannerman was there to smother the effort. Face off to the right of him in the Jacks goal. It'll be No and McQuarrie. Won by J.F. No behind the goal for Bob Kennedy. Now Kennedy along the right wing boards for Moylan. Muscled in a mighty mood by McQuarrie, but on the scene and low in the circle is No. No left it in front of the goal for Kennedy. Kennedy at center for Keith Miller. He storms in over the Binghamton line on right wing. Centered it right through the crease. Armstrong couldn't get there in time. Puck to center zone, controlled by Thompson. He hits the Baltimore line, stripped to the puck by No. Sent it back to center zone, where the trailer John McLean from right wing fires in behind the goal. Kennedy is on it. Bob Kennedy on left wing at his own line for Miller. Keith Miller from center drove it to the Binghamton line, knocked down by Jennings, who's cracked down by Armstrong. The two fall heavily. Puck to center zone, controlled by Kennedy on right wing. He just winds it around the Whaler backboards. Whitmore steps out and barricades for McLean, rounding the net on the right side. John McLean at his own line, lugs it center circle. He rifles it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman himself drove it around the left wing boards for Larry De Palma. Now De Palma up the boards at center for Lomo. Back for De Palma. De Palma center circle will control with Shedden on his right. Now De Palma at the Binghamton line for Shedden. It struck him on the back. Back comes Binghamton. Culhane to center. Over the Baltimore line sends Dallas Gaum streaking after it into the right wing corner. Gaum pulled down from behind by Shedden. Jack's penalty coming up. Now Greenlaw to the side of the Baltimore goal. Centered it. Blocked in front by Albrecht with Gagne and Greenlaw jostling each other in a rather rambunctious mood. De Palma and Greenlaw now at close quarters, but the linesman intervened, occurring at the Skipjack backboards, and there will be a Jacks penalty to Captain Doug Shedden, who dragged down the Binghamton player deep in the Skipjacks left wing corner at 16:21. So with 3:39 remaining in the second period, Binghamton will be presented its third power play of the night. They are 0 for 2 thus far. A break of the action. Binghamton power play coming up. Jacks 4, Binghamton 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. That's right, they had 2 in a row earlier, didn't they? They had 2 in a row earlier. Terry Piccarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Shedden from the Jacks, 2 minutes holding, 16:21. This is the Whalers' 4th power play of the night, their 3rd, though, of this period. They're 0 for 3 thus far. Now from the faceoff, puck in behind the goal. John McLean will control and engineer the power play rush. Now McLean right in front of the goal, straight ahead at center for Cortos, driving it off the Baltimore backboards, covering the Curran left circle. Albrecht clearing the line. Kellen contains right point. Now Tony Kellen, checked by Sagan, who steals. Sagan breaking away at center. Over the Binghamton line, he's right on goal. He shoots, scores! Steve Sagan, shorty in his goal. Jacks lead 5-1. At the Baltimore blue line on the left side, he sees the puck and sees the moment on the breakaway, and he just poured right in on goal, and he delivered it upstairs with a sleek backhander at 16:56. That's Sagan's second shorthanded goal this season. The Jacks 11th in their second in as many games, lifting them into their most sizable lead of the night at 5-1. Sagan assisted at 16:56. It's a 3-goal second period uprising by the Jacks. Now Beaudoin in front of his own goal, still 1:15 for the Binghamton power play. Beaudoin from center circle. Rockets it around the Baltimore backboard to the right corner for Kortko awaits it. Now Roger Kortko sanded it right off the skate of Sagan. Fired down ice from in front of the goal by Lomo. Controlled in the Binghamton right corner by Culhane. Leaving in front of the goal for Kortko, back for Culhane. Jim Culhane on right wing at his own line for Beaudoin. Yves Bourgeois at center for Culhane. He sails it into the Baltimore zone. In behind the goal, Albrecht give it a rough ride by Berglund, dug loose by Gaum. Now Dallas Gaum from behind the goal will operate, working on Julien. Now Gaum all the way back to the right point for Bourgeois. Bourgeois holds across left point for Culhane, in the circle for Kortko. Kortko centered it right past Berglund in front, bisecting the point man all the way down ice. 19 seconds for the Shedden power penalty, 1:56 for the period. Bourgeois at his own line. Yves Bourgeois to center. Bourgeois in right wing, drove it around the Baltimore backboard, left corner for Drews, runched by Kennedy, but seized behind the goal by Gaum. Gaum tried to force a centering pass in front for Thompson, and Moylan was there. And Dave Moylan fires it down ice, and Shedden is back on. And the Jacks extended their lead while Shedden served the minor. Binghamton controls at its own line. Grant Jennings on left wing at center. Drove it around the Baltimore backboard to the left corner. Digging in after this McQuarrie. Behind the goal for Thompson. Right in front for Drews with a shot. Bannerman the sprawling save. And he'll hold on. No further play with Thompson and Moylan now fighting in front of the goal. And Thompson lands two rights and a third right. Moylan trying to measure Jim Thompson. Now Thompson swings wildly with a right. They're all the way below us now. He's punched off Moylan's helmet. But Dave Moylan has been relentless in his pursuit, and he pulls Thompson down deep in the Skipjack right wing corner below us. Jim Thompson for Binghamton. Dave Moylan for the Jacks. The second time they've staged a main event tonight. This time with 1:17 remaining. Late in the second period, and the Skipjacks fans on their feet. Boy, they've had an absolutely jubilant time of it here tonight, and it's a large crowd indeed. Thompson, the league leader in penalty minutes last season. The third-year pro from the Washington Capitals organization and the Toronto Marlboros of the OHL Junior A. And Dave Moylan, who's been a pleasant surprise on the Skipjack defense since his arrival courtesy of the NHL Buffalo Sabres through their Rochester American League affiliate. Both depart the scene at the 18:43 mark late in the second period that has seen the Jacks strike 3 times and increase their lead in this command performance to 5-1. The Jacks are unbeaten in 3 consecutive games, representing their longest undefeated streak of the season. They have failed to defeat Binghamton, though, in 5 previous attempts. 4 defeats and a tie. 0-1-1 here in Baltimore. Moylan and Thompson apparently 5 of the majors for fighting. Now the Binghamton penalty box door remains open. And I believe the reason being is that Thompson, for the second time tonight, has been decreed the instigator. So Jeff Greenlaw will serve his penalty. That's the second time that Thompson and Moylan have sparred that Jim Thompson has been deemed the instigator by referee Paul Stewart. Thompson, 2 minutes instigating, 5 minutes fighting. Moylan, 5 minutes fighting at 18:43. Against day 2, Washington Capitals coach Brian Murray will be our special guest in our second intermission tonight. Jacks have power play time. It's 2 for 4 on the power play tonight. Control back in the Skipjack zone by Gagne. Now Gagne angles one up on right wing at center for Shed, and he eludes him to the Binghamton line. We're on the left defense. Jim Culhane fires it down ice under a minute for the period. Now Cliff Albrecht from behind the goal. He'll engineer the power play rush. Stolen by Kortko. Right in front for Kortko with a shot. The save by Bannerman. Shedden controls with a breakaway pass for DePalma at center. Didn't make it through. Culhane blocked that one. Jim Culhane on right wing at center for Yves Kortko. Sends it behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Albrecht. Wrapped up from behind by Kortko. Seized along the left wing boards by Berglund. Now Berglund, top of the circle for Kortko, right in front for Berglund. Stripped to the puck at the last instant by Albrecht, but contained right point by Bourgeois. He drove it into the left corner, and Gagne was there. Wayne Gagne with 14 seconds left in the period sends Lomo on his way to center at the Binghamton line. Overpowered from behind by Gaum, but Albrecht on left wing at center fires in behind the Binghamton goal. Colleen is on it there. De Palma steals right in front for Shed with a shot. Oh, Whitmore the save as the period ends with Colleen and De Palma dropping their sticks and gloves. It's in the Binghamton right circle. They're bobbing and weaving. A right by De Palma lands. De Palma and Colleen, and De Palma has Colleen in trouble. And the Deuce fall to the ice deep in the Binghamton right wing corner across the way into our right. Boy, Larry De Palma stripped the Binghamton defense of the puck on a brilliant steal behind the goal and set up Doug Shedden right in front. And Shedden was robbed by Whitmore just as the horn sounded, concluding what was really Trevor DeGrace. 18:44 left for regulation time and 44 seconds remaining in the De Palma minor before serving his major, and it's 5-1 Skipjacks. Steve Seguin has a goal and an assist tonight for the Skipjacks. Doug Shedden, Byron Lobo, Graham Bonner have Cage Singletons, as has Jacques Mayotte. Wayne Gagne and Larry De Palma have each assisted twice. Jacks on the power play 2 for 5 tonight and 5 for 12 in their last 3 games. Face-off, rim of the circle, right of Sidorkowitz in the Binghamton goal. Seguin and Gaume, they draw swords. Seguin won it, and he'll just drive it in behind the Binghamton goal. Beaudoin will control it. Now Yves Beaudoin across on left wing at his own line for Kellen, giving it back to Beaudoin. Beaudoin right wing at center, winds it around the Baltimore backboards, all the way to the left point, controlled by Kellen, across right circle for Gaume, cracked by Hoover, but Gaume will control again into the right corner. He and Hoover jostle for it there on the scene, as well as Berglund sliding it in behind the goal for Kortko. His centering pass deflected by Seguin, but contained right point by Beaudoin. Into the circle for Gaume, knocked away by Hoover, and Steve Seguin from the left wing board sends it the rest of the way down ice. The De Palma minor being served by Miller is over. Now Beaudoin to center, strides in over the Baltimore line, slipping at left wing corner for Drews. Drews along the boards from McQuarrie, centered one, Greenlaw in front, fired, Brannerman the save, the rebound in front, they score! Scott McQuarrie, and the Jacks lead 5-2. Scott McQuarrie was crossing the crease and rebounded it home at 2:13 after the skipjack penalty had expired. That is McQuarrie's 18th goal of the season. And for Scott McQuarrie, the OHL Junior A scoring champion with Oshawa last campaign, it's his 4th goal against the Jacks. Now from the faceoff at the Baltimore line, Julian up the middle at center for a breakaway pass for Noel, and he eludes him all the way in behind the goal. Controlled by McLean. McLean on left wing at his own line for Greenlaw, chugging to center. Jeff Greenlaw drove it in the Baltimore left corner. Caroms right to Bannerman. He left it behind the goal for Albrecht. Albrecht in the middle at center for Armstrong. Beyond him, all the way down ice, Jennings to reach it ahead of Ian Armstrong, and the Jacks are charged for icing. It was Scott McQuarrie's 18th, his 4th against the Jacks. Jeff Greenlaw and Yves Beaudoin assisting at 2:13. And the Jacks lead is reduced to 5-2. Again, the attendance tonight, 4,721. 4,721. An excellent crowd here tonight at the Baltimore Arena. The Jacks attempting to extend their unbeaten streak to 4 consecutive games. They're at 3, and it's growing. That's their longest of the season. Face-off right of Bannerman. It'll be Seguin and Richard. Now a false start on the right hash mark between Perkins and Corto. Won by Seguin, controlled at the Jacks line on the left side by Jacques Mayotte. Now Mayotte's pass deflected off Corto, is in a forechecking mode, and it's just skips into the Baltimore bench. JF No retrieves, and he just floats one into the crowd, and a youngster with a rugby sweater on, festooned with the blue and forest green color scheme, caught that one. All ready to go from the face-off. Center zone, Tony Kellen fires in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman will set it up for Hoover, rounding the net on the right side. Tim Hoover just raked it off the boards, center circle. Kellen sends it skidding into the Baltimore zone. Hoover on the left wing boards, controls it. At his own line for Mayotte. His pass halted center circle by Corto, steers right in on goal. Bannerman controls to the left side for Hoover. Now Hoover up the boards at center for Mayotte. Over the Binghamton line for Steve Sagan. Terry Perkins is astride offside on right wing. No further play. Perkins has been rather frustrated lately. He's without a goal in his last 9 games. He's been stuck at 41 for some time, but he has 4 assists in his last 3 starts. 16:44 remaining, third period, 5-2 Jacks. Face-off coming up barely outside the Binghamton blue line across the way from us on the Skipjack right wing. Graham Bonner centering Byron Lomo on the left side. Captain Doug Shedden on right wing. And Bonner has celebrated his debut tonight with a goal, a power play goal at 1:17 of the second period, and that thus far is standing out as the difference for the Jacks. Now from the faceoff, Albrecht forced deep into his own zone on the left side by Gaum. He just backhanded the Binghamton line. Control by Jennings. Up on left wing at center for Gaum. Across for Berglund on right wing at the Baltimore line. Backhanded behind the goal. Control by Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne straight ahead at his own line for Shedden. Shedden from center, drove it in behind the Binghamton goal. Sidorkiewicz out of the goal, swept it away for the onrushing Graham Bonner, lurking in the shadows behind him. They tangle for it truculently deep in the left corner. Bonner steals, centered it for Shedden. Shedden with a spinorama was bumped by Jennings. Back comes Binghamton. Berglund rushes to center, reaching the Baltimore line, poked off his stick, back to center by Albrecht. And from center zone, Bourgeois on right wing, lifts it into the Baltimore right corner. Control by Gagne. Now Gagne on the Jacks defense, up on right wing at center for Shedden, shooting right on. Kicked out by Sidorkiewicz. Rebound to the right circle for Bourgeois. Across the left wing at center for Greenlaw. Greenlaw reaching the Baltimore line, drove it to the front of the goal, cut off by Hoover. Hoover on the left side for Miller. Keith Miller in the middle at center for J.F. No. Motoring in over the Binghamton lines, thundering through the right circle, shoots right on. Kicked out by Sidorkiewicz. Rebound in the right corner for the Whalers. John Druce will control. He leads a 3-man rush to center, sailing it off the Baltimore backboards. Caroms into the right corner. Armstrong is there, entangled by Greenlaw. They jam for it there. Finally work loose by Julian up the right boards. Furto clearing to the line. It was weak. Jennings' point shot is right on. Bannerman nabbed that one. Controlled to the left side of the goal by Tim Hoover. He launches a rainbow inside Binghamton territory. Control by Jennings. Forced in front of the goal by the forward-checking persistence of No. Now Jennings on left wing at center for Richard. Passed him all the way to the right side of the Jacks goal. Bannerman launched it off the right wing boards for Julian at his own line, leading for Armstrong. Now Ian Armstrong in the middle at center for J.F. No, wrapping it in behind the Binghamton goal. The Jacks are changing. Rounding the net with it on the right side is Grant Jennings. Now Jennings at his own line. His pass knocked down by Perkins. Skids all the way into the Binghamton right corner. Mayotte is behind the defense, forcing Sidorkiewicz out of the goal. Peter Sidorkiewicz drove it up the right boards for Miller, who's cracked down from behind by Mayotte. Mayotte is tripped from behind by Miller at the Binghamton line. In the meantime, the puck is all the way back in behind the Jacks goal. Gagne controls. He's upended by Richard, but he sends it around the right boards for Perkins. Perkins sends it ahead to center zone, knocked down by Bourgeois, but it comes back to Perkins. Terry Perkins crosses the Binghamton line, dropped it right circle for Sagan, out of the goal for Perkins. Perkins swoops in behind the goal. He's tripped by Kellen. And there will be a Binghamton tripping penalty to Tony Kellen at 6:16. Jack's 6th power play of the night coming up. They're 2 for 5. A break of the action, 13:54 left, and we have a fight right at the Baltimore blue line. And I think Jim Thompson will be gone. This will be his 3rd of the night as he and the Skipjack player tangled right at the Skipjack blue line. I believe it's Jim Thompson. His number is obscured. Now it isn't. It's Thompson and Dave Moylan, the 3rd time tonight for both. And boy, is Dave Moylan absolutely seething. I think Thompson ambushed him from behind. I think Thompson just assailed Moylan from behind. And the Skipjacks fans didn't care too much for Thompson's tactics, nor his antics for that matter. Thompson should be evicted. That's his 3rd. That should be his 3rd fighting major of the night. Moylan has to be detained by the linesman as well. Thompson has been pushed into the penalty box by the other linesman. Moylan, without his helmet, is at the Baltimore blue line, and he is in a confab with the referee Stewart and the other linesman. Dave Moylan will skate to the Baltimore bench. Tony Kellen was receiving the original penalty for tripping Terry Perkins after the latter swooped in behind the Binghamton goal from right wing. Now Jim Thompson will depart, and he makes a rather clamorous exit. And Dave Moylan will follow right behind him. And we'll see how the penalties are ruled. Skipjacks trainer Dave the Mayor Sherritt will escort Moylan. I think Moylan had his shoulder pad broken. We saw a piece of his shoulder pad lying at the Baltimore blue line after they unpiled. So Moylan will be in need of equipment repair, and we'll see if Moylan receives a penalty as well. We have a feeling that Dave Moylan may not be receiving a penalty here. It may be all Jim Thompson. He ambushed Moylan from behind. Those two have not gotten along all night long. This occurring at the 6:06 mark of the third period. The original penalty was to Tony Kelvin for tripping Terry Perkins behind the Binghamton goal. Kelvin is already in the penalty box. A 5-minute major penalty is flashed on the penalty clock for the Whalers, and I think that is the only penalty. Kellen, 2 minutes for tripping, and Thompson, 5-minute match penalty. So they've thrown the book at Thompson, and he is automatically suspended. Whenever a player is in receipt of a match penalty, they are normally imposed an automatic suspension. So Moylan does not receive anything as we suspected, because he was just ambushed at the Baltimore blue line after the stoppage in play by Thompson. Tony Kellen, a 2-minute minor for tripping, and Jim Thompson receives a 5-minute match, and the time of the penalties, 6:06. So the Jacks will have a 2-man advantage for 2 minutes, the balance of the Kellen penalty, that's his minor, and the Jacks will have an uninterrupted power play overall for 5 minutes, because the 5-minute match penalty to the ejected Thompson must be served through completion. So the Jacks will have a 2-man advantage for the first 2 minutes unless they score, but they will have a power play for 5 full minutes, no matter how many times they score. 13:54 left, third period, 5-2 Jacks, and thus far they have really humbled this Binghamton team. We talked with several of the Skipjacks earlier in the week, and many of them stated without question that they felt that they were ready to surprise both Binghamton and Hershey this weekend. Both of those teams have overwhelmed the Jacks all season long, but this is a vastly improved Skipjack team, made so by the very intimidating presences of Larry DePalma and Jacques Maillat. And since their arrival, the Skipjacks are receiving much more room to operate on the ice, and some of their more finesse-oriented players now are given much more room to operate because of DePalma and Maillat's presences, and they have an opportunity to become very creative and very productive. From the face-off, Perkins won at left point for Albrecht. Right point for Gagne. Now Gagne center point for Albrecht. Shoots just wide. Rebound in the crease, fallen on by Sidorkowicz, with Perkins and Miller wedged off the play to the side of the crease by Culhane. 13:43 left. Jacks have a 2-man advantage for 1:49. They're 2 for 5 on the power play tonight. Face-off circle left of Sidorkowicz. Terry Perkins without a goal in 9 games, looking for a breakthrough. Opposing Dallas Gaume. All ready to go. Won by Gaume. Along the left wing boards, Culhane fired it past Gagne at the right point. That seemed to handcuff Gagne with a dizzying hop all the way down ice. Now Albrecht behind the goal. Leads for Shedden, rounding the net and winding it up. Shedden at his own line, romps to center. At the Binghamton line, toppled by Gaume, but trailing Miller for Gagne. Right in front for Perkins. He couldn't get there. Swept away by Sidorkowicz. Canteen right point by Gagne. Left point for Albrecht. Albrecht now dishes left boards for Shedden. Back for Albrecht. Right point for Gagne. Left point for Albrecht. Albrecht delivers it right corner boards for Miller. Behind the goal, slipping it for Terry Perkins. Right corner for Miller. Miller to the right point for Gagne. Right circle for Miller. Miller centered it. Blocked in front by Beaudoin. Contained top of the left circle by Shedden with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound along the left wing boards for Gaume. Clearing to the line. Gagne holds it in. Wayne Gagne right boards for Miller. It glanced off his skate to the back boards, and Jim Culhane fires it down ice. 40 seconds for the two-man advantage. Now Albrecht wheels at his own line. Slipping it in the middle at center for Doug Shedden, who hits the Binghamton line on left wing. Now Shedden, across right circle for Perkins, who does a spinorama. Perkins center point for Gagne. Left point for Albrecht. Center point for Gagne. Now Gagne along the right wing boards for Perkins, poking it in the corner for Seguin. Behind the goal for Shedden. Now Doug Shedden wheels to the right wing corner board. Centered it! Albrecht right in front, had a dance off his stick, but contained center point by Gagne. Right in front for Shedden. Blocked neatly on the defense by McLean, who sails it to the Baltimore line. The first penalty is over. At center, Albrecht steps it over the Binghamton line, sends Armstrong galloping after it left corner, but McLean is there, scaling it around the boards. Off the stick of Gagne at the right point to center. Gagne will control there. Checked by Courteau. And Yves Courteau just lifted it into the Baltimore penalty box. No further play. 2:46 remaining in the full-fledged 5-minute power play. And the Binghamton penalty killers were absolutely brilliant, while the Jacks had the two-man advantage. The Jacks never got on track, and they really never had a clear shot on goal. They maneuvered the puck around in Binghamton territory, but the Whalers really denied them as far as the high percentage shooting was concerned. In fact, I don't really think the Skipjacks ever got a shot underway during that two-man advantage. That's how effective the Binghamton penalty killers were. Now from the face-off, Claude Julien on right wing at center, drove it into the Binghamton right corner. It comes up the boards, and Yves Beaudoin fires it down ice. Now Bannerman behind the goal, barricades for Julien. 2:30 for the power play. Julien around the boards on right wing at his own line for JF No. Now No, twisting and turning his way to center over the Binghamton line. No along the left wing boards, taken down by Beaudoin, and the two sprawl on top of the puck deep in the offensive left wing corner, and referee Paul Stewart indicates that the faceoff will occur outside the Binghamton blue line, ruling that it was No who forced the stoppage in play when he fell on top of the puck with Beaudoin falling alongside of him. 11-12 remaining for third period action, and it's the Skipjacks 5, Binghamton 2. 2:18 for the 5-minute power play. The sole goal in this period produced by the Whalers and Scott McQuarrie at 2:13 is 18th from Jeff Greenlaw and Yves Beaudoin. In this third period, the Whalers with 3 shots and the Jacks with 3. The faceoff will originate outside the Binghamton blue line below us on the Skipjack left wing. Again, we want to remind you the Jacks will tangle with Hershey here tomorrow night at 8. That's tomorrow night at 8 here at the Baltimore Arena for the Jacks and the Bears. It's 2-for-1 night. Buy one ticket, receive the second one free tomorrow night here at the Baltimore Arena. Now from the faceoff, Claude Julien at the center red line. Across on right wing for Gagne. Rocketing it in behind the Binghamton goal. Sidorkowicz will hold there for Kellen. Around the right wing boards for Roger Courteau, who cleared it past the outstretched stick of Shedden at the left point, down ice. 2 minutes for the power play. Gagne behind the goal. Leads at his own line for Shedden. Now Shedden at center for De Palma, over the Binghamton line for Shedden. He's right in on goal to the doorstep for Bonner, and he couldn't quite reach it. Controlled in front by Kellen, and Tony Kellen sends it down ice. Now Bannerman behind the goal, around the boards on right wing for Bonner. It eludes him all the way to the Binghamton line. Controlled by Cronin, across on right wing at center for Courteau, the Baltimore line, right circle for McQuarrie with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound up the right wing boards all the way to center. Collected by Shedden, who hits the Binghamton line. Now Doug Shedden pulls up. right in front for De Palma. He slips in behind the goal instead. De Palma tried to bolt in front for it there, and Corto is waiting for him, and he sweeps it down ice. 1:12 for the power play. In front of the goal, Albrecht on right wing at his own line for Julian, up the boards at center for Shedden. Shedden collides with Bonner, skids back into the Jack zone. Covering is Julian across on the left defense for Albrecht. At his own line for Bonner, leaving for Julian the trailer. Now Claude Julian at his own line. Julian at center, really being jostled from behind by McQuarrie, but he feeds no, steps it over the Binghamton line on the left wing. Jolted by McLean, contained the left point by De Palma. His weak shot marshmallowed in front, knocked down by Jennings, who chases it across to the left boards. Grant Jennings steams to center. At the Baltimore line, forearmed on the defense by Julian in a lusty spirit. Half minute for the 5-minute power play. And the Jacks power play is barely threatened. Now Julian. At his own line, the pass stolen, top of the circle by Gayam. Gaume in the left circle, shoots, struck the side of the net. Puck in behind the goal. Corralled by Keith Miller. Now Miller will start out at his own line. Rinkwad on right wing at center for No. Storming behind Colleen over the Binghamton line. No is right in on goal. And he was sent tumbling into the crease by Bourgeois. And from in front of the goal, Berglund clears the zone. Bob Kennedy from center. On right wing, drove it behind the goal, and all the penalties are over. And the Binghamton penalty killers were magnificent. Now Gaume at center. Over the Baltimore line for Richard. Trying to streak past Kennedy on the defense. Now Kennedy rode him off. Forced him wide of the backboards and really squeezed him. Dug out behind the goal by No. Checked by Drews, who steals right in front for Kellen with a shot. Knocked down by Kennedy. He sends No rushing to center. JF No over the Binghamton line around Colleen. The drop pass left point for Hoover with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound deep in the right corner for Miller. Behind the goal for No. Now No tried to slip the check of Richard, but covering was Kellen. Kellen for Richard, right side of the goal. Mike Richard on right wing in his own line for Berglund. Berglund from center, fired, muffled by Albrecht. Albrecht across on right wing in his own line for Armstrong. The Jacks will start out. Armstrong at center over the Binghamton line. On left wing for Lomo on the boards. Lomo into the corner for Shedner for Sagan. Pinned by Cronin. Seized left wing boards though by Lomo. Right in front for Sagan. Didn't make it there. Cut off by McQuarrie, leading a three-man rush to center. McQuarrie over the Baltimore line. Right circle for Miller with a shot, and he fired it high and wide. Rebound up the Jacks right boards for Perkins. 7:40 left. Terry Perkins from center circle wrapped it in behind the Binghamton goal. Now Sidorkowitz with a long reach. Holds there for McLean. McLean's pass halted left point by Albrecht with a shot, and Lomo in front deflected it right through the crease. Puck controlled the Binghamton line by Mike Miller. Miller speeds to center. Over the Baltimore line around the sprawling Albrecht. Right in on goal. Miller fired. Bannerman the save as he sealed the angle expertly. Controlled in front of the Jacks goal by Perkins. Terry Perkins motoring to center. Over the Binghamton line on right wing, working on Colleen. He's around Colleen, right in on goal, but he lost control. Jabbed away neatly at the doorstep by Sidorkowitz. Controlled in front of the goal by Corto. Corto at center for Bourgeois. Bourgeois at the Baltimore line. Spilled by Kennedy. Back come the Jacks. Larry De Palma springs to center. Over the Binghamton line, left circle. Try to center one. Blocked by Jennings. Dug out behind the goal, though, by Bonner. Graham Bonner in the left corner. Centered it. Right past Shedden in front all the way to the Baltimore line. Controlled by Bob Kennedy on the right defense. Continuous action. Kennedy at center for Shedden, who barrels in over the Binghamton line, firing. And McLean deflected that one wide. Dug out behind the Binghamton goal by John Drews, rounding that on the left side. Drews on left wing. At center for Corto. He drove it into the Baltimore left corner. Covering the carom is Sagan. He fires it around the right wing boards at his own line for Doug Shedden. Now Shedden from center, flutters it into the Binghamton right corner. Jacks change, 6:10 left. Continuous action in this third period. Kellen at his own line, headmans it for Mike Miller. Miller from center, at the Baltimore line. Skated off by Julian, skid to the goaltender Bannerman, who drove it to the right boards for Lomo. And Byron Lomo propels that into Binghamton territory. Tracked down by Kellen, who's chased him behind the goal by Mayotte. Now Kellen, straight ahead in front of the goal for Richard. Richard on right wing at center of Mike Miller, who darts it over the Baltimore line. Forced wide of the corner boards by Hoover, who thumped him. Dug out behind the goal by Lomo. Around the boards on right wing at his own line for Jacques Mayotte. And Mayotte just cushions the puck into Binghamton territory. Controlled in front of the goal by McLean. Up on left wing at his own line for Corco and back for McLean. Leaving it for the trailer, Sean Cronin at center circle. Cronin drove it behind the goal. Bannerman holds for Julian, 5:24 left. Now Claude Julian on right wing at his own line for Sagan. Steve Sagan from center. Steers in behind the Binghamton goal. Jacks change, 5:16 left. Rounding the net with it on the right side is Baudouin. Baudouin at his own line. Lugs it to center at the Baltimore line for McQuarrie. Jolted by No, but trailing on the left side, Greenlaw. He bowls over Gagne and No, charging after it in the corner. And then Gagne gets back up and really cracked Greenlaw, and the Jacks are away. JF No to center. Over the Binghamton line sends Armstrong charging after it, right corner. Crunched to the backboards by Culhane, but No behind the goal, centered one. Blocked in front by Baudouin. At center for Tim Berglund. Romping in over the Baltimore line, left circle. Now Berglund swerves into the corner. Centered one. Right circle, Baudouin fired, and that was way wide. Rebound to the left point for Jennings with a shot. Kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound right point, Baudouin fired. Kicked out by Bannerman beautifully. And back come the Jacks. Ian Armstrong on right wing at center. Floats it in on goal. 4:22 left. Controlled by Sidorkowitz at his own line on the left defense for Jennings. Grant Jennings from center drove it into the Baltimore left wing corner. Digging after it is Drews. He centered one. Blocked in front by Kennedy. Bob Kennedy sends Larry to Palma, tearing after it deep in the Binghamton left corner. Sidorkowitz hides it away from him, though, as he stepped out. But the pass was stolen inside of the goal by Shedden. Shedden centered it right through the crease. Bonner couldn't reach it, but Moreland from the left point fired. And he fanned on the shot. It just waffled off his stick. Back comes Binghamton. Drew's pass halted at center by Kennedy for Shedden. Shedden from center with a rising shot over top of the net. 3:45 left. It's just been continuous action in this third period. Now Mike Richard explodes to center at the Baltimore line on left wing with a rising shot over top of the net. Puck in behind the goal. Dug out by Richard. Stripped to the puck by Bonner, who jolted him. Controlled by the Jacks. Dave Moylan at his own line. Moylan strides to center. Drifts it in on goal. Sidorkowitz holds left circle for Kellen. Jacks change. Kellen across on the right defense at his own line for Cronin. At center for Miller behind him. All the way down ice. Continuous action. Julian behind the goal. Just rifles it around the right wing boards. Down ice. 3:09 left. 5-2 Jacks. Covering behind the Binghamton goal. On the defense is Cronin. On right wing at his own line for Miller. Glanced off his skate to the Baltimore line. Julian is there. On right wing at center for Perkins. Checked along the boards by Kortko. Now Roger Kortko for the Whalers. His pass halted center circle by Lomo, who stepped in to intrude. Now Lomo backhands in behind the goal. Sidorkowitz out of the goal. Paddled it away from the onrushing Terry. Perkins closing in. Kellen behind the goal. Is able to shed the check of Sagan. Now Kellen at his own line. Tony Kellen on left wing at center, drove it in behind the goal. Scampering after it, Gaume. Bannerman charges out, drove it into the opposite corner, but Miller was lurking in the shadows there. Mike Miller tried to bolt in front, and he centered one right through the crease. All the way through the Baltimore right side for Terry Perkins, who storms to center. Perkins fired. Sidorkowitz the save. Rebound behind the goal. Control by Culhane. Nearly undressed to the puck by Lomo, who was draped over his back. Culhane on a second effort, though, feeds Baudouin. Baudouin right wing at center. Sends it skimming into the Baltimore right corner. 2:04 left. In the right corner, it's Julian. Claude Julian at his own line. Just sails it to the Binghamton line. Glove down by Culhane. It skids back to center, where Byron Lomo on left wing. Just hoist one in on goal. Sidorkowitz collects it behind the goal for Baudouin. 1:49 left. Amazing continuous action. Baudouin right up the middle at his own line for McQuarrie. On right wing at center for Drews over the Baltimore line. Drews in the right circle. Upended by Albrecht. Puck in behind the goal. Miller controls it. Away from Greenlaws. They were muscling in a mighty mood. Puck though skims in behind the goal. McQuarrie centered it. McLean fired. Bannerman kicked that one out. Rebound in the left corner for McQuarrie again. Working on Gagne, who crunched him. Puck is loose in the left wing corner again. Greenlaw's there, wrapped up by Albrecht, and finally a whistle with 1:16 remaining. A break in the action. It's Jacks 5 and Binghamton 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. How many minutes of continuous action was that? Were you watching? It's something you should watch. Something like that. I mean, that was... So we had about 12. We had Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena, where we have just described for you 12 minutes and 38 seconds of continuous action. We've had continuous action without a whistle for 12 minutes and 38 seconds with 1:16 left, and it appears the Jacks will stretch their unbeaten streak to a season's best 4 consecutive games by posting their 3rd win before this large crowd of 4,721. Jacks 5, Binghamton 2. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live, Baltimore Arena. When the Jacks surrendered 3 goals or less in a game, entering tonight's game, they had posted a record of 7-3-8. They will advance that to 8-3-8, barring a miracle comeback crescendo by the Whalers, who will taste defeat for the first time in 6 meetings against the Jacks this season. And this will be the Jacks' first victory against Binghamton since the regular season finale last April here in Baltimore, when the Jacks drubbed the Whalers 8-3. In that one, the Jacks erupted for 6 second period goals. Tonight it was a 3-goal second period uprising. From the faceoff, Jacques Maillat at his own line on left wing for the Jacks, directs it into Binghamton territory. Tracked down by Jennings, chased him behind the goal by Seguin. Barely evading the check of Seguin at the backboards. Now Jennings pass at center on right wing for Richard. He tried to dance it over the Baltimore line, checked by a sprawling Dave Moylan, but trailing in the right circle, Courteau, he's right in on goal with a shot, and Kennedy sprawled across fearlessly and blocked it. He deflects it up on right wing at center for Terry Perkins. He tried to high step it in over the Binghamton line. He was skidded off by Croden. Control by Berglund at his own line, 34 seconds left. Berglund on left wing at center for Richard. He was nearly sent crash landing into the penalty box by a thunderous check from Bob Kennedy. Boy, oh boy, did Richard feel that blow. Puck along the Baltimore right wing boards. They tangle for it truculently there. Dug out by Perkins with 15 seconds left. Perkins drags it to the right side of the goal, and he's underway. Perkins on left wing at center for Jacques Maillat. Maillat hits the Binghamton line. Left circle for Perkins, swerving through the circle. Perkins is right in on goal, and he is sent nose diving into the net, and there will be a Binghamton penalty with 2 seconds remaining. A Binghamton penalty. Terry Perkins slow getting up, but he's all right. He may be simply fatigued. Tony Kellen is the culprit, and the victimized defenseman is Terry Perkins. Just swerved right past him, swerving through the left circle right in on goal, when Kellen deposited him in a nose-diving fashion into the net. Kellen 2 minutes for cross-checking at 19:58. The Jacks will stretch their unbeaten streak to 4 consecutive games with their 3rd victory in this span. Face-off left of Sidorkowitz in the Binghamton goal. And this has been an absolute masterpiece by the Jacks tonight. The puck has dropped, the horn sounds, and this hockey game is over. And the Baltimore Skipjacks juggernaut goes on.